Today we're diving into the world of accessible documents and how one company, Consist, is really changing the game with their cutting-edge tech, NAGIX.
It's way more than just like alt text for images on websites. We're
Right.
talking about like every single document being accessible to absolutely everyone, no matter what.
Why is this such a big deal for companies to think about?
Well, imagine trying to navigate a super complicated financial report. If you rely on a screen reader or if you are a student with a visual impairment and you're trying to get through a textbook, it's like all this critical information is just completely locked away.
And this isn't just like a hypothetical situation, right? I mean, we have laws like Regulation 35A in Israel that are really pushing for this kind of accessibility, right?
Yeah, exactly. Regulation 35A has been, well, it's been huge, especially for organizations operating in Israel. It basically says that all documents have to be accessible right away, like immediately.
Yeah.
There's no waiting for someone to request it or anything. It's got to be ready to go from the start.
So tell me, what is NAGIX exactly? How does it actually take like a regular document and make it accessible?
Imagine a super organized like librarian for all of your documents, right?
Right.
It uses these things called tags to label and identify all the different parts of a document. And we're not just talking about text. It can be images, tables, dates, amounts of money, like you name it. It even understands the structure of the document itself, which is pretty amazing.
Wait, so it's not just about making the text bigger or reading it out loud. It's about making the entire structure of the information accessible.
Exactly. It's about like creating this multi-layered representation of the information that assistive technologies can actually understand and navigate.
What about things like charts, graphs, and other visuals? Those are usually a nightmare for accessibility, aren't they?
You know what? That's where NAGIX really shines. They've integrated OCR, which stands for Optical Character Recognition, and AI to tackle that really complex stuff. The OCR is like the eyes of the system. It recognizes and converts all those images and logos into accessible tags, and then the AI steps in, and it can actually understand like what the chart or graph is trying to say, and it translates all that visual information into a format that assistive technologies can actually use. It's really impressive to see in action.
But let's bring it back down to earth for a second. What are the tangible benefits for organizations that actually use this technology?
Well, first and foremost, it keeps them on the right side of the law, especially with regulations like Israel's 35A becoming more and more common. This tech is becoming essential. But beyond just compliance, think about it avoiding lawsuits, happier customers. It could even save organizations money because their workflow becomes more efficient. Plus, it allows businesses to reach a way wider customer base. And for organizations that depend on government funding, having accessible documents could be the difference between keeping that funding or losing it.
Yeah, because really, accessibility is not just the right thing to do, it's often good for business too.
That's a great point. It's about understanding that when you're more inclusive, it benefits everyone involved.
And speaking of real-world examples, how about we dive into that case study about that leading investment firm in Israel? They had quite a challenge on their hands, and their experience with Consist is really eye-opening.
Absolutely. So this firm was practically drowning in a sea of paperwork. Oh, it was unbelievable. Just mountains of financial reports, stock analyses, communications with investors, you name it. And they were really struggling to keep up with those accessibility rules from Regulation 35A. They needed a way to make it scalable, something that could handle all those complex documents and the sheer volume of paperwork they were dealing with every day.
So that's where Consist and NAGIX came in. How did that partnership actually happen?
So Consist actually worked really closely with the firm to really understand like their specific needs, their pain points, what they were struggling with. They took the time to create a solution that really fit into their existing workflows.
They just had to create these templates once, and then NAGIX automatically applies the accessibility features to all the new documents. That's genius.
They understand that at the end of the day, technology is just a tool. It's how we choose to use it that truly makes a difference.
As we wrap up this deep dive on Consist and their work on NAGIX, it's clear that technology has so much potential to make the world a fairer and more just place for everyone.
100%. It's about recognizing that every person deserves respect and the chance to succeed.
Beautifully put. And on that note, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the exciting world of accessible technology and the inspiring work being done by Consist.